Welcome to Monster Civilization. Let me show you to your house.
This is Monster Civilization. Just yesterday, I won in a monster battle against Evbo, who used to live in E tier. But since I beat him, I've officially ranked up to the E tier village.
This is it. Get settled in. I'm sure you're gonna be here for a while.
Hey, welcome to E tier. Out of nowhere, a random guy showed up next to me, and beside him was something I had never seen before. It looked like a zombie, but definitely not a regular one. It had some kind of nether mutation. It was some kind of burnt zombie.
I saw your battle with Evbo. Those were some nice moves.
Thanks, but that's nothing compared to what you have. What even is that?
Oh, right. This is my fire zombie. I'm actually from the D tier village. I just wanted to come congratulate you on ranking up.
You're from D tier?
Yeah, been there for a while. It's harder to rank up than you think.
His monster was insane. If I was able to get something like that, monster battles would be a piece of cake. I'd be able to beat whoever I wanted. Well, your monster is crazy. How can I get one like that?
Oh, well, it's not easy. If you want to get a fire monster like mine, the only way is in the burnt forest. It's a super dangerous forest, kind of like the one you're used to, but so much worse. Not too long ago, I went in there with a group of 5 others, looking for new monsters. I was the only one who made it out alive.
This sounded perfect. A forest so dangerous, only one person was able to make it out? If that's where he got a monster like that, it's exactly where I needed to be. I knew it would be a death wish, but if I wanted to make it all the way to S tier, I couldn't play it safe. Every tier gets more and more brutal. I need to make sure I get stronger too. I had no clue what kind of monsters I'd find in here, but if I wanted one of the strongest monsters in all of Monster Civilization, this was the only shot I had. It didn't look safe, as if the forest itself was warning me not to go in, but I couldn't afford to play it safe. Right as I was about to head in, I got stopped.
Whoa, hold on. You're not actually going in there, are you?
Yeah. Why?
Dude, no one goes in there anymore. Not after what's been happening recently.
I didn't know what he was talking about, but it seemed serious. What are you talking about?
Just recently, whole groups of players have been going in and never coming back. It's been happening for weeks now. 5 here, 6 there. They just vanish. No traces, no bodies, just gone. Last I heard, it's up to like 20 people or something.
I felt my stomach drop instantly. This forest already seemed deadly. Now I'm hearing over 20 people have gone missing in there. This sounded bad.
Look, I'm not saying you shouldn't go in. There's clearly something in there making all these people go missing, and whoever ends up capturing whatever it is, they'll be unstoppable. Just remember, this isn't like the other forests. If you're not careful, you'll end up just like the others. Missing.
I didn't know what to say. Chances are if I went into this forest, I wouldn't make it back out alive. But just like I always say, sometimes you have to take that risk. If I turn back now, I'll never make it to S tier. Whatever was waiting in that forest, I had to face it head on. Thanks for the warning, but I'm going in.
You can't be serious. That's a death wish. You know, in order to capture the monster here, you have to be able to kill it first, right?
What? What are you talking about?
Of course you don't know. I told you, this forest isn't like what you're used to on your lower layers. If you can't defeat the monster you want, you can forget about capturing it.
Great. Just another reason why I'll probably never make it out of this forest. There is no way I'm beating whatever's in there, considering it's already taken out so many people. But it doesn't matter. This is what I signed up for. I have to try.
All right, man. Good luck. You're gonna need it. Wait. Here, take these first. It's nothing crazy, but I know you have a skeleton, and it might help you against whatever's in there.
Thanks. I hope you're right. I thanked him and then stepped into the forest. I could immediately feel the heat. Everything around me looked scorched, like it had been set on fire and then left to rot. The trees were burnt to their core, and for a second, I just walked, taking it all in. It looked dead, but somehow it didn't feel empty. Everything had this burnt, fiery feel to it. Even the ground felt burnt. I wandered around for a bit longer, but I didn't see anything. No monsters, no movement, nothing. And that's when I started to doubt myself a bit. If I get stuck in this village with my pig and bunny, there's no way I'd make it to the S tier village. Every monster there is stronger, faster, and even smarter. I need something way more powerful. Something that could hold its own against whatever's up there in those higher villages. But just then, right when I was starting to doubt all this, I saw something. At first, I thought it was just lava, but when I got closer, I realized it was a platform. Finally, something actually stood out. Maybe I was actually getting somewhere. I nervously stepped onto the platform. The second my foot hit the brick, I could tell this wasn't just a random structure. It looked like something built specifically for a boss fight. The size, the layout, it felt intentional, but there was nothing here. I sat around waiting for something to show up, but there was nothing. No mobs, no noise, it was just silence. Something felt off. Not just here, but in this entire forest. It was like it had been emptied out. Like whatever was here before had been taken over by something stronger. But then I heard something. I turned around and standing right behind me was a giant, mutated, burnt zombie. I didn't have time to think. Immediately, it lunged at me. I barely got out of the way before being smashed to bits. But even seeing it move, I could already tell. I was cooked. This wasn't just some overpowered mob. It was mutated. Whatever this thing was, I had no clue how strong it really was. I needed to make a decision fast. I had 3 monsters on me, but only one shot to pick the right one. The bunny. It's small, fast, maybe it could dodge for long enough to land a hit, but it only has 4 hearts. One hit from that thing and it's gone. The skeleton had range. That could buy me some distance, maybe stall some time. But let's be honest, a single arrow, that'd do nothing. Lastly, the pig. It wasn't just agile, it had a laser, something that could do some actual damage. I didn't hesitate. The second I picked up the pig, I spun around and charged up the laser. The mutant zombie was sprinting at me full speed. I didn't have time to think. I lined it up and fired. The shot hit him clean, right in the chest. It knocked the mutant zombie back hard, slammed him all the way back to the edge of the platform. Surprisingly, there were burn marks all across his chest. For a second, I thought it might have been enough, but of course, I would never get that lucky. The laser was already on cooldown, and now I was out there alone, with that thing charging back at me. It attacked me again, and I barely managed to dodge out of the way. His attacks were heavy. One of these, and I might be done for. I couldn't outdamage it. Not yet. So I did the only thing I could think. I ran. I looped around him, trying to keep far enough where he couldn't hit me, just long enough for my laser to recharge. I needed time, but luckily I was agile enough to buy some time. I kept running, dodging, weaving, doing whatever I could just to survive, until finally the laser was back. I got a little distance, not nearly as much as last time, but it might be enough. I had one shot. I started charging the laser. It was almost done. I was about to fire, but right before I could, he slammed down hard and my heart was pounding. I only had a couple hearts left. One more hit and I was dead. I was lucky enough to survive this one hit, but I was screwed. I should have known this pig, as weak as it is, it's not built to take on something this strong. Not alone. I couldn't let my greed get the best of me. If I stay here any longer, I'd end up just like the others. Gone and forgotten. Just another body in this burnt forest. I had to run. I wasn't gonna let this be the end of my journey. I didn't stop running. I had to make sure I wasn't being chased. I kept looking over my shoulder, waiting to hear those heavy footsteps. But after a while, there was nothing. I was safe. I switched back to my player form and stood still for a second, catching my breath. And that's when it hit me. I almost just lost everything. If you die out here, out in the wild, you don't respawn. There's no reset, no second chance. It's just over. I need to be more careful. I hadn't found anything in this place yet. No loot, no new monsters, just a near-death experience. Maybe it was time to head back. If I stayed any longer, I might not get as lucky the second time. I started walking towards the exit. Risking my life wasn't worth it. But right as I neared the end, I saw something. Standing right there next to a tree was the same burnt zombie I saw earlier. The exact one I wanted. This was perfect. If I wanted to rank up to the next village, this was it. This was the perfect opportunity. But in a forest like this, you don't just find a monster and capture it. You have to kill it first. And after everything that's happened so far, I wasn't exactly confident. None of my monsters felt strong enough to take something like this out. But then I remembered. That guy, the one who warned me about the missing people, he gave me something. Instant damage arrows. If I could just get the jump on it, land one clean shot while it wasn't looking, that might be enough to take it down in just one hit. I morphed into my skeleton and moved in close, behind a tree, making sure it still hadn't seen me. This was it. I had to hit this shot. I pulled back the bow, took a deep breath, and fired. And to my surprise, it dropped. Just like that. The arrow landed clean and the zombie was down. And then I saw it. Right where the zombie died was a brand new capture cube. I walked up to the cube and when I picked it up, I saw the name flash across my hotbar. D tier capture cube. This was it. I had officially ranked up. I made it out of the E tier village and I was that much closer to my dream of S tier. As I made my way out into the new village, I instantly noticed the theme. There were burnt skeletons, burnt creepers, even piglins. Everything here felt stronger, modified, and way more dangerous. Unlike the pigs and cows I'd fought before. These monsters actually looked like they belonged in Monster Civilization. I was finally getting some. This wasn't just a new tier. It was a whole new level of Monster Civilization. But even now, after all that, I wasn't satisfied. I didn't come here to make it to D tier. My goal was to make it all the way to S tier, to the very top, the strongest village in Monster Civilization. And from the looks of it, I still had a long way to go.